Good evening. Before we begin, allow yourself to slow down. Let the noise of the day become quiet. The tasks you completed, the things you worried about, the things you still have not solved. For tonight, you can put them down. You do not need to carry tomorrow. You do not need to return to yesterday. Just breathe, slowly, gently. You are here, and perhaps this moment is enough. Tonight, we explore something that almost every person searches for: happiness. A simple word, but one that has guided countless decisions throughout our lives. We chase it, we plan for it, we sacrifice for it. We believe that somewhere ahead there is a place where everything finally feels right. A place where we can finally say, I have enough, I am enough, I can finally rest. But many people discover something painful. The thing they spent years chasing was always moving further away. Because happiness built only on the outside is never completely secure. The chase that never ends. From a young age, we learn to chase. Chase good grades. Chase success. Chase money. Chase recognition. Chase relationships. Chase a better version of ourselves. The world quietly teaches us, when you get there, then you will be happy. So we run. We run toward the next achievement, the next goal, the next moment. And sometimes, we forget to ask, where exactly am I running to? The man who chased the golden mountain. There was once a man named Eli. Eli lived in a small village near the mountains. He was not unhappy. He had a home, friends, food, a peaceful life. But he always felt something was missing. He believed happiness was somewhere else. One day, a traveler arrived in the village. The traveler told stories of a mountain far away, a mountain made of gold. He said, at the top of that mountain, you will find everything you ever wanted. Eli's eyes became full of excitement. He thought, this is what I have been waiting for. So the next morning, he left. He walked for many days, through forests, across rivers, over mountains. The journey was difficult, but he continued, because he believed, when I reach the golden mountain, I will finally be happy. Years passed. Eli became older. His clothes became worn. His body became tired. But finally, one morning, he reached the mountain. And there it was, the golden mountain, shining under the sunlight. Eli smiled. I found it. He climbed. Higher, 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 until he reached the top. But when he arrived, he saw something unexpected. There was no treasure, no magical happiness, no perfect life waiting for him. Only a beautiful view. The same sky, the same wind, the same world. Eli sat down, and for the first time in many years, he became still. He watched the sunset. He felt the wind. He heard the silence. And suddenly, he realized something. The happiest moment of his journey was not reaching the mountain. It was the moment he stopped chasing the illusion of someday. The human mind has a powerful habit. It creates a future version of happiness. Someday I will be happy. Someday I will relax. Someday I will have enough. Someday everything will be perfect. But the problem with someday is that it never arrives. Because when tomorrow becomes today, The mind creates another tomorrow, another goal, another desire, another condition. And happiness becomes something always waiting. The Buddha's teaching about desire. The Buddha observed something deeply human. The mind often believes, I need something outside of me to complete myself. A person thinks, I need more money. I need someone to love me. I need people to respect me. I need success. And perhaps these things can bring joy. But the Buddha noticed something. The joy does not last forever, because everything changes. Money changes. Relationships change. Circumstances change. If our peace depends completely on things that change, then our peace will always be fragile. The empty cup. Imagine holding a cup, a beautiful cup, every day. You try to fill it with achievements, with praise, with experiences, with possessions, but somehow it never feels full, so you keep adding more and more, but the feeling remains. Why? Because the cup was never empty. The belief that you were incomplete was the thing creating the emptiness. The monk and the flower. There was once a young monk who asked his teacher, Master, why am I always searching for happiness? The teacher gave him a flower. The monk looked at it. The teacher asked, What do you see? A beautiful flower. The teacher asked, Are you happy? The monk smiled. Yes, the teacher said. Why? The monk answered, Because the flower is beautiful. The teacher smiled. No, the flower did not create your happiness. It only gave you a moment to notice the happiness already within you. The monk became quiet, because he understood. The world does not always give us happiness. Sometimes, it simply reminds us of the happiness we already carry. The problem with chasing, when you chase happiness, you create distance from the present. You say, I will be happy later, and without noticing, you reject the only moment you actually have. This moment, the breath you are taking, the quiet around you, the simple fact that you are alive. Happiness is not always found by adding more. Sometimes it is found by noticing more. Tonight's reflection. Ask yourself gently, what am I waiting for before I allow myself to be peaceful? A certain amount of money, a certain person, a certain achievement, a different version of yourself. Now ask, what if peace does not begin there? What if peace begins here, in this breath, in this moment, in accepting that you are already part of life? The quiet lake. Imagine yourself sitting beside a calm lake. The moon reflects on the water. You are not trying to reach anything. You are not trying to become anything. You are simply watching. The water, the moon, the night, and slowly, you feel something. A quiet happiness. Not excitement. Not a temporary pleasure. Something deeper. A peaceful feeling of being present. The feeling of not needing to run. Returning home. Perhaps happiness was never waiting at the end of the road. Perhaps it was walking beside you. In every breath. In every moment. In every simple experience. You were too busy chasing to notice. Take a slow breath. Release the search. Release the pressure. Release the belief that you need to become something more before you can be at peace. Tonight, you can stop running. You can rest. because the happiness you were searching for may have been quietly waiting within you all along. Welcome back. The night continues. The world becomes quieter. The breath becomes slower. The mind begins to settle. And now, we continue our journey. A journey into understanding why happiness often feels so difficult to hold. Because sometimes, the thing stealing our happiness is not what we lack. It is the way we look at what we already have. The invisible thief. There is a quiet thief that enters many people's lives. It does not break doors. It does not make noise. It simply whispers. Look at them. Look at what they have. Look at how far ahead they are. And slowly, without realizing it, we begin comparing our own journey to someone else's. A person's success becomes a reminder of our failure. Someone else's happiness becomes proof that we are missing something. Someone else's life becomes a measurement of our own worth. And peace begins to disappear. The garden of two farmers. There were once two farmers who lived beside each other. The first farmer had a small garden. The second farmer had a larger field. Every morning, the first farmer looked across the fence. He saw the second farmer's crops, more plants, more land, more harvest, and he thought, my garden is not enough. I work just as hard. Why does he have more than me? Slowly, he stopped enjoying his own garden. He no longer noticed the flowers growing. He no longer enjoyed the fresh vegetables. He only saw what he did not have. One day, an old monk passed by. The monk asked, "Why do you look unhappy?" The farmer answered, "Because my neighbor has more." The monk looked at his garden. How many people would be grateful to have what you have? The farmer became quiet. The monk continued, "You are standing inside a blessing, while looking at someone else's." The farmer looked around. For the first time in a long while, he saw his own garden, the flowers, the trees, the life growing around him, and he realized the garden was never the problem. His attention was the illusion created by the mind. The mind has a strange habit. It compares our entire life to a small piece of someone else's. We see someone's success, but we do not see their struggles. We see someone's confidence, but we do not see their fears. We see someone's beautiful moments, but we do not see their difficult nights. We compare our behind the scenes to someone else's highlight, and then we wonder why we feel behind. The empty throne. There is an old story about a king. The king had wealth, power, a beautiful palace, but he was unhappy. Every day, he looked at other kingdoms. He saw kings with larger armies, kings with more gold, kings with greater influence, and he thought, I am not enough. One day, he visited a wise teacher. The king said, I have everything, but I still feel poor. The teacher asked, why? The king replied, because there is always someone with more. The teacher smiled. Then tell me, if another person has more gold, does your gold disappear? The king paused. No. If another person is admired, does your value become smaller? The king became silent. The teacher continued, you are suffering because you are measuring your life with someone else's ruler. The king understood. Comparison had created a prison, not because others had more, but because he believed their more meant his less. The modern illusion. Today, comparison has become easier than ever. We carry a window into thousands of lives. Every day, we see people traveling, people succeeding, people celebrating, people appearing happy, and the mind quietly asks, why not me? But remember, a picture is not a life. A moment is not a whole story. A success is not a complete person. Everyone carries invisible struggles. Everyone has unseen battles. Everyone is walking through something. The monk and the two trees. A student once asked a Zen master, why do I feel unhappy when I see others succeed? The master took him into the forest. They stood before two trees. One tree was tall, strong, large. The other was small, young. The student looked at the tall tree. It is greater. The master asked, does the small tree suffer because it is not tall? The student answered, no. Why? Because it is simply growing. The master smiled. Exactly. The tree does not compare. It follows its own nature. The student became quiet because he realized a flower does not compete with another flower. A river does not compare itself to another river. The moon does not feel smaller because the sun shines. Everything has its own path. Your journey is not late. One of the deepest sources of suffering is the belief, I should be somewhere else by now. The mind creates a timeline. I should have achieved more. I should have become better. I should have figured life out. But life is not a race. There is no universal schedule. A seed does not apologize for taking time to become a tree. A sunrise does not rush because another day has already arrived. Growth happens at its own pace. Returning to your own garden tonight. Imagine yourself returning to your own garden. Not your neighbor's. Not someone else's. Yours. Look around. What is growing there? The experiences, the lessons, the relationships, the small moments, things you once wished for that you no longer notice. Take a moment. Appreciate what is already here, because happiness often disappears, not because we have too little, but because we overlook what is already present. The practice of gratitude. Before sleeping tonight, remember 3 simple things. Something you are grateful for. Something beautiful you noticed. Something small that brought you peace. They do not need to be big. A warm meal, a kind word, a quiet moment, a breath of fresh air. The mind that learns gratitude stops constantly searching for what is missing. The moon and the stars. Look at the night sky. The moon shines. The stars shine. Do the stars say, I am not enough because I am smaller than the moon? No. They simply shine in their own way. And so can you. Your light does not disappear because someone else is shining, resting in your own path. Take a slow breath. Release comparison. Release the need to measure yourself. Release the belief that another person's journey defines yours. You are not behind. You are not too late. You are simply walking your path. The lantern glows. The lake is calm. The night is peaceful. And tonight, you can stop looking outside for proof that you are enough, because you already are. Welcome back. The night continues. The lantern still glows softly. The lake remains peaceful beneath the moon. And now we enter a place where many people spend most of their lives. The future. The place where we believe happiness is waiting. The mind creates a beautiful promise. One day everything will be better. One day I will finally relax. One day I will have enough money. One day I will become the person I want to be. One day I will be happy. But what if the endless search for someday is the very thing preventing us from experiencing happiness today? The happiness that always moves away. The mind has a fascinating habit. It creates a destination, a place where everything becomes perfect. And then it says, just get there, just reach that point, just achieve that thing. Then you can finally rest. So we work harder, we sacrifice more, we delay our peace. We tell ourselves, I will enjoy life after this project, after this achievement, after this problem is solved. But when that moment arrives, something strange happens. The mind creates another condition, another goal, another mountain, and the search continues. The man who waited for life to begin. There was once a man named Hero. Hero lived in a quiet village. He was always waiting. When he was young, he thought, when I become older, I will be free. When he became older, he thought, when I have more money, I will be happy. When he had more money, he thought, when I become successful, I will finally enjoy life. When success came, he thought, when I retire, I will finally have peace. Years passed. One evening, Hiro sat beside a river. He looked back at his life, and suddenly, he realized something painful. He had spent his whole life preparing to live, but he had rarely lived. The happiness he waited for was always placed in the future, and the present moment was always sacrificed. The student and the perfect day. A young student once asked a Zen master, "Master, when will I finally find peace?" The master asked, "What are you waiting for?" The student answered, "When my problems disappear." The master smiled. "When will that happen?" The student thought. "I do not know." The master nodded. "Then you have given your peace to something uncertain." The student became quiet. The master continued, "If your happiness depends on a perfect day, you may spend your whole life waiting, because there is no perfect day. There are only real days, beautiful days, difficult days, ordinary days, and the wisdom is learning to meet them all." The trap of when. The word when can quietly control our lives. When I have more, when I become better, when someone understands me, when everything goes right, then I will be okay. But notice something. The mind is always placing peace behind a condition. Peace becomes a reward, something we must earn. But Buddhist wisdom teaches, peace is not a reward at the end. It is a way of walking. The farmer and the mango tree. There was once a farmer who planted a mango tree. Every morning, he watered it. But after a few days, he became impatient. He looked at the small tree and said, "Why are you not giving me fruit yet?" He watered it more. He pulled the branches. He tried to make it grow faster, but the tree became damaged. An old farmer saw this. He said, "What are you doing?" The man replied, "I want the tree to give me fruit." The old farmer smiled. "You cannot force a tree to become what it is not ready to become. You can only create the conditions, then allow life to unfold. This is how happiness works. You cannot force yourself into happiness. You cannot demand peace from life. You create the conditions. You practice awareness. You practice gratitude. You learn to release. And then you allow. The future does not need your anxiety. Many people believe worrying about the future prepares them. They think, if I worry enough, I will prevent pain. But worry does not control tomorrow. It only steals today. Imagine carrying an umbrella everywhere because you are afraid it might rain. You spend your whole life carrying protection, but you forget to enjoy the sunshine. Preparation is wisdom, but constant worry is attachment. The present moment is the only door. The future can only be experienced when it becomes the present. Think about that. You cannot live tomorrow. You can only live today. Every future moment, when it arrives, will arrive as now. So if you cannot find peace now, what makes you believe you will suddenly find it later? The present is not an obstacle on the way to happiness. The present is where happiness lives. The tea that was already warm. A Zen teacher once served tea to a student. The student was nervous. He said, "Master, I cannot enjoy this moment." "Why?" "Because I am worried about what comes next." The teacher smiled. He poured tea into the cup. The cup slowly filled, then overflowed. The student quickly said, "Master, the cup is full." The teacher stopped. "Exactly. Your mind is like this cup. You are already full of tomorrow. How can today's peace enter?" The student became silent, returning to today, tonight. Ask yourself, how much of my life have I postponed? How many moments have I ignored because I was waiting for a better one? How many sunsets have passed while I was thinking about tomorrow? How many simple joys have I missed because I was chasing something bigger? Now take a breath. Feel this moment, this breath, this quiet, this exact moment will never return. And that is what makes it precious. The moon does not wait. Look at the moon. Does the moon say, "I will shine when everything is perfect"? No. It shines tonight, through clouds, through darkness, without waiting. And perhaps we can learn from this. We do not need perfect conditions to experience peace. We only need presence. Rest, here, tonight. Release the future for a while. Tomorrow will come. The problems will be met. The journey will continue. But tonight, you can rest. You do not need to chase happiness. You do not need to run towards some distant version of yourself. You are already here. And here is where life begins. The lantern glows. The lake is calm. The night embraces you. Take a slow breath. Let go of someday. Return to now. And discover the happiness that was waiting all along. Welcome back. The night continues. The world is quiet. The breath is slow. The mind begins to settle. And now, we explore something very close to human nature. The search for pleasure. The desire to feel good. The desire to escape pain. The desire to find something, anything, that makes us feel complete. There is nothing wrong with enjoying life. The Buddha never taught that happiness is forbidden. Beauty, love, joy, connection. These are precious parts of being human. The suffering begins when we believe this feeling must stay forever. This experience must continue. Without this, I cannot be happy. And slowly, a beautiful experience becomes a chain. The endless hunger of the mind. Have you ever noticed something? The mind is very good at wanting. When we do not have something, we believe it will make us happy. When we finally get it, we enjoy it for a while. Then, something changes. The excitement fades, and the mind searches again. A new desire, a new goal, a new thing to chase. The object changes, but the pattern remains. The story of the golden fish. There was once a fisherman who lived beside the sea. His life was simple. Every morning, he went fishing. Every evening, he returned home. He had enough. But one day, he found a golden fish. The fish spoke. "You have been kind. I will grant you one wish." The fisherman thought, "I only need a better boat." The next morning, a beautiful new boat appeared. He was happy for a while, but then he saw another fisherman with a bigger boat, and suddenly his happiness disappeared. He wished for a larger boat, then a bigger house, then more wealth, then more recognition. Years passed. The fisherman became one of the richest people in the land. But one evening, he looked at everything he owned, and he felt strangely empty. The golden fish appeared again. "Are you happy now?" The fisherman became quiet, because he finally understood. He had spent his entire life collecting things, but he had forgotten how to experience life. The difference between joy and attachment. A beautiful meal can bring joy. A peaceful song can bring joy. A loving relationship can bring joy. But attachment says, "I need this to feel okay." Joy says, "I appreciate this moment." Attachment says, "I cannot lose this." Joy says, "I am grateful this exists." The difference is subtle, but it changes everything. The cup that is never full. Imagine drinking from a cup. The cup represents pleasure. You drink. You feel satisfied, but soon the feeling fades, so you drink again and again. The problem is not the cup. The problem is believing the cup can permanently satisfy a deeper thirst. Because what the heart truly seeks is not endless pleasure. It seeks peace. The monk and the sweet fruit. A young monk once asked his teacher, "Master, why do beautiful things disappear so quickly?" The teacher gave him a sweet fruit. "Eat this." The monk tasted it. Wonderful. The teacher asked, "Do you want the same sweetness forever?" The monk thought, "Yes." The teacher smiled. "Then you would stop enjoying it." The monk looked confused. The teacher continued, "The sweetness is beautiful because it is temporary. If the taste never changed, you would stop noticing it." The monk understood. The passing of things is part of their beauty. Why we chase more. Often, the search for pleasure hides something deeper, a feeling of emptiness. The mind says, "Maybe this will fill the space. maybe success, maybe attention, maybe entertainment, maybe possessions. But the emptiness returns, because the outside cannot permanently fill what the inside is asking for. The quiet addiction to distraction. Today, people have endless ways to escape silence. A screen, a video, a notification, a constant stream of information. The moment the mind becomes uncomfortable, we run, because silence reveals something. It reveals what is happening inside, the worries, the fears, the feelings we avoid. But the Buddha taught, what we avoid often controls us. What we gently face begins to lose its power. The man who feared silence. There was once a man who hated quiet places. Whenever he was alone, he became uncomfortable. So he filled every moment. Music, conversation, entertainment, work, anything to avoid silence. One day, he visited a monk. The monk asked, "Why do you fear silence?" The man replied, "Because when everything becomes quiet, I have to face myself." The monk smiled. "Then perhaps silence is not your enemy. Perhaps silence is where you finally meet yourself." The man sat quietly. At first, it felt uncomfortable. Then, slowly, he noticed his breath. He noticed the wind. He noticed the peacefulness. And he discovered something. The silence was not empty. It was full. The Buddha's middle way. The Buddha did not teach, reject all pleasure. He did not teach, live without joy. He taught balance, the middle path. Enjoy what comes, but do not become a prisoner of it. Taste the sweetness, but remember, it will change. Love deeply, but remember, people are free. Experience life fully, but do not demand that life remain the same. Returning to simple happiness tonight. Notice the simple things. Your breathing, the feeling of rest, the quiet around you, the fact that you are alive in this moment. These things are easy to ignore, but they are where life actually happens. The moon and the reflection. Imagine looking at the moon reflected on the water. It is beautiful. You reach out to hold it, but your hand touches only water. The reflection disappears. The moon was never something you could possess. It was something you could appreciate. Many things in life are like this. Moments, experiences, people. They are not here to be owned. They are here to be experienced. Letting go of the chase. Take a slow breath. Tonight. Release the endless search. Release the belief that the next thing will finally complete you. Release the idea that happiness is always somewhere else. The flower is already blooming. The music is already playing. The moment is already here. You do not need to chase it. You only need to notice. The lantern glows. The lake remains still. The night becomes deeper. And for this moment, nothing is missing. You are simply here. And here is enough. Welcome back. The night continues. The lantern beside you glows softly. The lake reflects the quiet moonlight. And now, we enter one of the deepest places where happiness becomes suffering. The fear of losing it. Because sometimes we are not unhappy because something is missing. We are unhappy because we are afraid something beautiful will disappear. A moment we love, a person we cherish, a life we finally feel grateful for. The mind whispers, what if this ends? What if I lose this? What if everything changes? And slowly, instead of enjoying happiness, we begin protecting ourselves from losing it, holding happiness too tightly. Imagine holding a beautiful flower. The flower is fresh. The colors are bright. The fragrance is gentle. You love the flower, so you close your hand around it. You want to keep it safe. You do not want the wind to take it. You do not want time to change it. But slowly, the flower begins to break. Not because you did not love it, because you loved it with fear. This is the difference between appreciation and attachment. Appreciation says, how beautiful that this exists. Attachment says, how can I make sure this never leaves? The story of the butterfly. There was once a young woman who found a beautiful butterfly. The butterfly had bright wings. Every morning, it came to her garden. She watched it fly. She felt peaceful. She felt happy. She thought, this butterfly brings so much beauty into my life. One day, she became afraid. What if it stops coming? What if I lose this happiness? So she built a small cage. She carefully placed the butterfly inside. She gave it food, water, protection. She thought, now I will never lose it. But days passed. The butterfly became weaker. The wings that once danced freely became still. The woman cried. She asked a wise monk, why did this happen? The monk looked at the butterfly, then said, you loved the butterfly, but you were afraid of its freedom. You wanted the happiness it brought, but you forgot the happiness came from allowing it to be what it was. The woman opened the cage. The butterfly flew away, and for the first time, she understood. True love does not trap. True appreciation does not possess. The hidden fear behind attachment. Why do we hold so tightly? Because deep inside, there is fear. The fear of change. The fear of emptiness. The fear that, if this disappears, I will not be okay. But look deeper. Was the happiness truly inside the thing? Or did the thing simply awaken something already inside you? A person can bring love, but they do not create your ability to love. A moment can bring joy, but it does not create your ability to experience joy. The source is deeper. The river and the water. Imagine standing beside a river. You see beautiful water flowing. You reach down. You take some water into your hands. For a moment, you can hold it. But the tighter you squeeze, the faster it escapes. So you open your hands, and the water continues flowing. Was the water lost? No. It simply continued its journey. Life is the same. The people we love, the moments we enjoy, the experiences we cherish, they are like water, beautiful because they flow. The old man and the beautiful house. There was once an old man who built a beautiful house. He spent many years creating it. Every detail was perfect. The garden, the rooms, the view. He loved his home, but every night he worried. What if there is a storm? What if something breaks? What if I lose everything? A monk visited him one day. The monk asked, do you enjoy your house? The man answered, yes. Then why do you spend every night afraid of losing it? The man had no answer. The monk smiled. Perhaps you do not own the house. Perhaps the fear owns you. The man became quiet. He realized the house gave him comfort, but his attachment took away his peace. The secret of impermanence. The Buddha taught something simple but profound. Everything changes, not to make us afraid, but to help us appreciate. A sunset is beautiful because it does not stay forever. A song touches the heart because it ends. A moment becomes precious because it passes. If everything lasted forever, would we still notice its beauty? Perhaps not. Impermanence is not the enemy of happiness. It is what gives happiness meaning. The mistake of wanting forever. The mind says, stay, do not change, remain exactly like this. But life does not work this way. The child grows, the season changes, the flower blooms and fades, the morning becomes evening. The person you are today will not be exactly the person you are tomorrow. And this is not a problem. This is life. Loving without fear. A peaceful person still loves deeply, but they understand. I do not own this moment. I am grateful to experience it. I do not control how long it stays. I appreciate that it is here. This is a different kind of happiness. A softer happiness. A freer happiness. Tonight's reflection. Think about something beautiful in your life. A person, a memory, a simple experience. Now notice, is there gratitude? Or is there fear? Are you enjoying it? Or are you worrying about losing it? Gently release the fear. Keep the love. Keep the appreciation. Let go of the need to control. The moonlit lake. Return now to the quiet lake. The moon reflects on the water. You see your reflection. Then a small wave moves. The image changes, but the moon remains. Remember, a changing moment does not mean a lost moment. A changing life does not mean a meaningless life. A changing heart does not mean a broken heart. Change is simply the movement of existence. Resting in the present, take a slow breath. Release the fear of losing happiness. Release the need to freeze time. Release the belief that beautiful things must last forever to matter. Some things are precious because they are temporary. The lantern glows. The lake is peaceful. The night continues, and tonight you can enjoy what is here without fear, without holding too tightly, simply grateful, simply present, simply alive. Welcome back. The night continues. The lantern glows softly beside the quiet lake. The mountains rest beneath the moon. And now, we arrive at the heart of this journey, the place where the search finally becomes quiet. Because after chasing, after wanting, after comparing, after fearing loss, we begin to ask, where does happiness actually come from? For most of our lives, we look outside. We believe happiness is something we collect, something we achieve, something someone else gives us. But Buddhist wisdom points to something deeper. Happiness is not something you find, it is something you uncover. The treasure hidden beneath the house. There is an old story about a man who lived a poor life. Every day, he struggled, he worked, he worried, he wished for a different life. One day, a traveler visited him. The traveler asked, "Why do you look so unhappy?" The man replied, "Because I have nothing." The traveler looked at him carefully. "Nothing?" "Yes." The traveler smiled. "Then why do you sit on a treasure?" The man was confused. "What treasure?" The traveler pointed beneath the ground. "Years ago, your ancestors buried something valuable here." The man dug, and beneath his own home, he discovered great treasure. For his entire life, he had been sitting above something valuable, but he never knew. Many people are like this. They search the world for happiness. They travel, they achieve, they collect, but they never look within. They never discover the peace that was already there. The mind creates the world we experience. Two people can experience the same situation and feel completely different. One person sees difficulty, another sees opportunity. One person sees change as a threat, another sees change as growth. Why? Because the experience is not only created by what happens, it is also shaped by the mind that receives it. The Buddha taught, a peaceful mind creates a peaceful world, not because problems disappear, but because the mind no longer adds unnecessary suffering. The farmer and the two seasons. There was once a farmer who lived through two very different seasons. One year, the harvest was abundant. His fields were full. His animals were healthy. The villagers said, "You are so lucky." The farmer smiled. Perhaps the next year, a storm destroyed much of his crops. The villagers came again. "What terrible luck." The farmer simply said, "Perhaps." His son asked, "Father, why are you never too happy or too sad?" The farmer looked at the fields. "Because life changes. The good moments pass. The difficult moments pass. My peace cannot depend completely on either one." The son understood. The farmer still appreciated good days. He still felt sadness on difficult days, but he was not destroyed by either. His happiness had a deeper root. The difference between pleasure and peace. Pleasure depends on conditions. A good meal, a beautiful place, a success, a compliment. These are wonderful, but they come and go. Peace is different. Peace is the ability to remain steady while life changes. Pleasure says, "I am happy because everything is going well." Peace says, "Even when things change, I can remain present." One depends on the outside. The other grows from within. The broken mirror. A young woman once asked a Zen teacher, "Why do I feel unhappy when people criticize me?" The teacher gave her a mirror. He placed it on the ground and stepped on it. The mirror cracked. The woman became shocked. "Master, why did you damage it?" The teacher asked, "Did the mirror lose its ability to reflect?" The woman looked. Even broken, it still reflected. The teacher smiled. Your true nature is like this. People's opinions may affect the surface. Your circumstances may create changes, but your deepest worth does not disappear. The woman became quiet. She realized she had been giving others the power to define her peace. The trap of external validation. Many people secretly live with this belief. I will be happy when others see my value, when people praise me, when people approve of me, when people understand me. But this creates a difficult life, because you place your happiness in someone else's hands, and other people's opinions are always changing. Today someone praises you. Tomorrow someone criticizes you. If your peace moves with every opinion, you will never be still. The lotus flower. The lotus flower grows from muddy water. The mud is not a mistake. It is part of the process. Without the mud, the lotus would not rise. Life is similar. Your challenges, your mistakes, your difficult experiences, they do not prevent peace. They can become the place where wisdom grows. The peaceful person is not someone who escaped difficulty. It is someone who learned from it, finding the happiness that does not need chasing. Tonight, ask yourself, what if I stop searching outside? What if I stop believing something is missing? What if I simply notice what is already here? The breath, the quiet, the ability to feel, the ability to love, the simple miracle of being alive, the quiet lake within. Imagine a lake inside your heart. For many years, the surface has been disturbed. Thoughts, worries, desires, fears, creating waves. But beneath the waves, the water is still. The deeper you go, the quieter it becomes. This is where true happiness lives, not in having everything, but in no longer believing you need everything to be whole. Returning home, the search can finally slow down. The running can end, because happiness was never a destination. It was never waiting at the end of a perfect life. It was the quiet awareness walking with you all along. The lantern shines. The lake reflects the moon. The night is peaceful. And now, you understand. You do not need to chase happiness. You only need to stop running away from the peace already within you. Take a slow breath. Return to yourself. Return to this moment. Return home. Welcome back. The night continues. The world has become quiet. The breath has become gentle. The mind has become softer. And now, we arrive at the final lesson. Not about finding happiness, but about living in a way where happiness can naturally appear. Because perhaps the greatest misunderstanding is this. We think happiness is something we catch, something we chase, something we finally reach. But happiness is not a place. It is a way of being. The endless chase comes to an end. Think about a person chasing the horizon. Every day, they walk toward it. They believe, when I reach that place, I will finally arrive. But no matter how far they walk, the horizon moves. Not because they are failing, because the horizon was never meant to be reached. It was only meant to guide them. Many people live this way, chasing a future version of happiness, a perfect version of life, a perfect version of themselves. But the more they chase, the more distant peace feels. The Buddha discovered the path to happiness begins when the chase ends. The fisherman who found the ocean. There was once a fisherman who lived beside the sea. Every morning, he went fishing. His life was simple. He woke with the sunrise. He listened to the waves. He returned home at sunset. But one day, a wealthy traveler visited him. The traveler saw the fisherman resting. "Why are you not working harder?" The fisherman smiled. "Why should I?" The traveler replied. "If you work more, you can catch more fish. Then you can earn more money. Then you can buy a bigger boat. Then you can hire others. Then you can become wealthy, the fisherman asked. And then what? The traveler smiled. Then you can finally relax. The fisherman looked at the ocean. But that is what I am doing now. The traveler became silent because he realized he had spent his entire life trying to create a future where he could enjoy the present, while the fisherman was already living there. The secret of enough. One of the deepest teachings of Buddhism is contentment. Not the idea of giving up, not the idea of having no dreams, but the ability to say, this moment is enough. Enough does not mean I never grow. It means I do not reject this moment while growing. You can have goals. You can improve yourself. You can build a better future. But you do not need to hate the present while moving forward. The two ways of walking. Imagine two people walking through a forest. The first person says, I will enjoy the forest when I reach the end. So they walk quickly. They see nothing. They hear nothing. They miss the flowers, the sunlight, the birds. The second person walks differently. They still have a destination, but they notice the journey. They feel the ground beneath their feet. They breathe the fresh air. They appreciate the path. Both people reach the end, but only one truly experienced the forest. Life is the same. The destination matters, but so does the walking. Happiness is not a reward. Many people treat happiness like a prize. They think, I must earn it. I must become successful enough. I must fix myself first. But you do not need permission to experience peace. You do not need to become perfect before you can breathe. You do not need to have everything solved before you can appreciate life. A flower does not wait until tomorrow to bloom. It blooms now. The Zen master and the student. A student once asked a Zen master, how do I become happy? The master answered, stop trying. The student was confused. Stop trying to be happy. The master nodded. Because the person who is constantly trying to become happy is constantly reminding themselves that they are not happy. The student became quiet. The master continued, practice being present, practice gratitude, practice kindness, and allow happiness to come naturally, like a butterfly. The harder you chase it, the farther it flies. But when you become still, sometimes it lands beside you. The simple things we forget. Happiness is often hidden in ordinary moments. A warm cup of tea, a quiet morning, a conversation with someone you love, the feeling of sunlight, the sound of rain, a peaceful breath. The mind often says, that is too simple. I need something bigger. But perhaps the simple things are not small. Perhaps we have simply become too distracted to notice their value. The practice of returning. Every time the mind runs away, return. Return to the breath. Return to the body. Return to the moment. Every time you compare, return. Return to gratitude. Return to your own path. Every time you chase something outside, return. Return within. This is the practice. Not becoming someone new. Remembering what was already there. Tonight's reflection. Ask yourself, what if I stop chasing happiness? What if I allow this moment to be enough? What if I stop waiting for life to begin? Take a breath. Feel the quiet. Notice that for this moment, nothing is missing. You are breathing. You are alive. You are here, and this moment is already part of the life you were searching for. The final walk to the lake. Imagine yourself walking once again through the forest. The same path, the same moon, the same quiet lake. But something has changed. You are no longer searching. You are no longer asking, where is happiness? Because you understand. The lake was always beautiful. The moon was always shining. The path was always here. The only thing that changed was the way you looked, resting in peace. The lantern beside you glows. The water is still. The night is peaceful. And now, you can release the chase. Release the need to find a perfect life. Release the belief that happiness is always somewhere ahead. You can walk slowly. You can breathe deeply. You can appreciate what is here. Because happiness is not something waiting for you at the end. It is something you experience along the way. Take a slow breath. The journey continues, but the searching can end. You are already home. Welcome back. The journey has brought you here, to this quiet moment. The world is resting. The night is calm. The moon gently shines above the still water. And now, there is nothing left to chase. Nothing left to prove. Nothing left you need to become. For this moment, you can simply rest. Take a slow breath, breathe in, and allow yourself to arrive. Breathe out, and release everything you no longer need to carry. The day has ended. The worries of today can wait. The questions of tomorrow can wait. Right now, there is only this breath, this moment, this quiet, returning to the place within. Imagine yourself walking slowly through a peaceful forest. The path beneath your feet is soft. The trees stand silently around you. The air is cool. The world feels gentle. You are walking without a destination. For the first time, you are not trying to reach something. You are simply walking. One step, one breath, one moment. And with every step, you feel lighter because you are no longer carrying the pressure of finding happiness. You are no longer asking, how can I finally be happy? You are simply experiencing the hidden garden deep inside the forest. You discover a small garden. It is quiet, ancient, beautiful. At the center of the garden is a small pond. The water is perfectly still. You sit beside it and you look into the reflection. At first, you see all the things you have chased, the achievements, the dreams, the expectations, the person you thought you needed to become. Then slowly, the reflection changes. You see yourself, not the version others expect, not the version you try to create. Simply you, the person who has experienced, the person who has struggled, the person who has continued. And you realize something. You were never incomplete. You were never missing the thing that would finally save you. You were simply searching outside for something that was already within. The Buddha's final reminder, the Buddha taught that peace comes from understanding. Understanding that everything changes. Understanding that everything passes. Understanding that nothing outside of you can permanently complete you. Not because life is empty, because life is precious. The moment you stop trying to possess everything, you begin appreciating everything. The flower becomes more beautiful. The conversation becomes more meaningful. The simple moments become more alive because you finally see them. Letting go of the chase. Tonight, imagine placing all your unfinished searches into a small lantern. The search for approval, the search for perfection, the search for a future where everything finally feels right, the search for a happiness that never changes. Place them inside. Look at them gently. These searches were not wrong. They came from a desire to feel safe, a desire to feel loved, a desire to feel complete. But now, you understand. You do not need to chase what is already here. The lantern on the water. You take the lantern. You walk toward the lake. The moon reflects on the surface. The water is calm. You gently place the lantern onto the lake. It begins to float. Slowly, quietly, the golden light moves across the water, carrying away the need to chase, carrying away the pressure, carrying away the endless searching. You watch it disappear into the distance, and you feel something. A quiet space, a gentle peace, the happiness without a reason. There is a kind of happiness that does not need a reason, not excitement, not achievement, not the temporary feeling of getting something you wanted. Something deeper, the feeling of being okay, the feeling of belonging to this moment, the feeling of not needing life to be different. This is the happiness the Buddha pointed toward. A peaceful heart, a calm mind, a life lived with awareness, the river of life. Imagine now sitting beside a flowing river. The water moves. It does not hold yesterday. It does not worry about tomorrow. It simply flows. A leaf falls into the river. The river carries it. A flower floats by. The river carries it. Everything arrives. Everything leaves. And the river remains. This is life. Things come. Things change. Things leave. But your ability to experience, your ability to love, your ability to be present remains. The last question. Tonight, ask yourself one final question. What if nothing is missing? Not tomorrow, not someday, now. What if this moment is already part of the happiness you were searching for? Take a breath. Feel your body resting. Feel the quiet around you. Feel the simple miracle of being here. You do not need to run. You do not need to hurry. You do not need to become someone else. Coming home. The forest is quiet. The lake is peaceful. The lantern continues floating. The moon continues shining. And you can finally rest. The search is over. Not because you found something new. Because you remembered something old. Peace was always here. Happiness was always closer than you thought. The place you were trying to reach was the place you were already standing. Take one final, slow breath. Breathe in peace. Breathe out the chase. Breathe in acceptance. Breathe out the pressure. Breathe in stillness. Breathe out the need to find. May your heart be light. May your mind be calm. May your journey be peaceful. Remember, you do not need to chase happiness. You only need to stop running away from the peace within you. Good night. Rest deeply and allow yourself to simply be.